Let's break this bitch down. Act 1. Let's set some stuff up.
Our film begins as you'd expect, with the song Peggy Sue Got Married by Buddy Holly and the Crickets, which is the way less sexy but still cute cousin to the original 1957 Peggy Sue. Over a title sequence that looks like it was made in an 80s version of Macromedia Flash. I bet only one person in our audience is going to get that joke.
Anybody old enough to remember when Adobe didn't own everything?
We see Nick, a.k.a. Crazy Charlie, on a TV dressed like Elvis, doing a goofy voice that somehow gets goofier as the film goes on, mashing fortune cookies and playing the xylophone while hawking television and stereo equipment as his daughter, played by Helen Hunt, giggles on. I'm guessing she's probably laughing because she's confused how this guy could possibly be her dad, seeing as how he's so wacky and he's like only 6 months older than her. We see Kathleen Turner's character, Peggy Sue Bodell, putting on makeup in a mirror in a creepy shot where her reflection doesn't follow her movements at all. Her reflection starts smearing lipstick all over her face while little people dance behind her as the bizarre circus music swells to a deafening volume. Wait, no, sorry, that's the wrong movie. That's different.
That's
Quick
like
fact.
a weird fever dream between Twin Peaks and Wild at Hearts.
Quick fact. This shot was done with a double, mimicking Peggy's movements since there were no fancy way to hide the camera using CGI back in 1986. I
feel
was
like there's
when
better ways of doing it.
I do too. Because when I saw that, I was like, am I having a stroke? Like, is my brain not processing this?
It's foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Wait, for my life? I'll take it. I'll take it. I already speak like I have a stroke. Anyways.
You speak great. You just don't read well.
I don't read too good.
You're a great talker. And you want to be.
What I want to be. All right. It's clear immediately that Peggy is over Charlie's bullshit and wants her daughter to turn off the television since she doesn't trust Charlie anymore. Peggy gets dressed in her Mylar blanket, looking like Chuck McGill before the fire. Spoilers. Sorry, Nigel. For her 25th high school reunion. And Peggy laments that Charlie left her for some bimbo named Janet, who probably has a real head for knowing.
You have such a head for knowing.
Beth, Peggy's daughter, calls her mom a very hip chick who looks like she just stepped out of a Life magazine. Then Peggy says she doesn't want to go because everyone is going to ask where Crazy Charlie is in a kind of vaguely racist accent.
Hey, where's Crazy Charlie?
I wasn't really sure what was going on with that.
Crazy Charlie.
I couldn't tell if that was just her like trying not to cough while she speaks and she's got that smoker's voice.
I think she was trying to do his like goofy way of talking, but
Yeah.
but it came off as like, ooh,
Slightly racist. It's okay. In the 80s, there wasn't a such thing as racism.
No.
We cut to Buchanan High School, where we meet a bunch of young people in old people makeup. That still is somehow more convincing than that scene at the end of Deathly Hallows, where we see middle-aged Harry Potter and his pals, but not by much, really. We see a doofus and Sean Archer's frigid wife, somehow dressed stupider than Peggy Sue, who remarked that Peggy and Beth looked just like a commercial that was popular in the 80s. I'm guessing it's that one where the mom and daughter are walking down the beach and the daughter turns to her mom and says, "Mom, do you douche?" I think it had to be that soap commercial since Peggy and Beth look like they're the same age for some fucking weird reason.
Mom, do you douche?
Yes, people that were born after the year 2000. That was a real commercial.
I remember how taken aback everybody was.
America
by that
was?
commercial.
What?
Whoa, what?
Gotta ask you something real personal. Do you douche? I sure do.
The other day I saw a commercial where somebody was like talking about how sperm tastes like bleach. So I don't know.
What? It does?
Don't act like you don't know, Nigel. They all awkwardly walk back onto the set of Valley Girl, where we hear a band playing "Johnny, Are You Queer?" Okay, again, this is a throwback to a movie.
It did kind of look like the Valley Girl set.
It did. Maybe they just rolled right back in there.
Which we said
Could
the
have been
Valley
the
Girl
same
set
one.
looked like the Back to the Future
Yeah,
high
look at
school.
Back
So
to the
they all
Future,
just go to the same high school. Which that came out a year before this movie, so maybe.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that came out at the same time, and there was actually a line apparently that was cut where she said, "I've come back from the future."
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
You can actually see her saying it, but
When
they
she's talking to Richard about
they,
being
like-
from the future.
yeah, I think so. And then
Wow.
they went in and ADR'd her saying, I've come back." I don't remember what it was, but like
That's the way. Yeah,
it's kind of
she's like,
crazy.
I'm
and
from
then-
I'm from the future or something like that.
I have come here from the future.
So
Yeah.
really-
It's just,
And
I
that
don't know.
movie was so much more popular than this.
Yeah, I feel like that's the pitch for this movie was Back to the Future, but worse.
As we know, though, this was actually started before Back to the Future because they
Yeah, it was
started
like, what, 83?
started the script in 83.
Next, we see a photo of Peggy and Charlie revealing they were prom king and queen in 1960, and a picture of Peggy twirling a baton covering the whole wall of the dance. I guess based on everything we find out about her life and middle age, I think it's definitely safe to say that she peaked in high school.
Charlie too.
Yeah. I don't know. He's on TV.
Yeah,
He's famous.
he owns the appliance store
He owns his family's appliance store. Yeah.
that his dad gave him.
Yeah, still chasing bimbos around the store.
We see another girl reenacting a photo of her getting felt up by Nick Cage or something. I don't know what that was. And we see that she dresses like Stevie Nicks and has become a raging yuppie, showing off her gold Rolex. Then we cut to a guy who is smoking, literally, because it's party time. Party. Why? Because he's gotta. Yeah, that's right. We see a post once bitten pre-Earth girls are easy Jim Carrey, who bumps into Carol, the yuppie, and they make a plan to do coke later or something. I don't know.
It's kind of crazy if you think about like Jim Carrey's career, where he had starred in a movie as the main character, and then he ended up going into bit parts after that, and then he ended up on TV, and then he became big off of TV and did Ace Ventura.
I'm trying to remember him talking. I saw an interview about him talking about that, but yeah, I think that movie didn't land as he thought it would land, and so then he kind of had to figure it out. Yeah, it didn't. Then he had to kind of figure it out, and that's when he started doing all this other stuff. And then in Living Color, I think is what kind of really put him back out there. And
Yeah, I feel like Jim Carrey's shtick works better on a sketch comedy show. And then you get your name out there and you get famous for that. And then
Honestly, he's
they can
kind
start
of
finding
annoying
roles that'll work
in
better
this
for you.
movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
very annoying.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what his problem was, as he was still trying to kind of figure out how to play that comedic character that he's so good at.
Yeah.
And you could definitely tell it was not working.
Yeah.
Not
can you
working
imagine-
here, but
God,
you
he
can
didn't
see
have
the
a
early
lot.
stages of like,
Yeah.
there's
You could
a lot of
see-
callbacks to things that he does later on amazingly.
Yeah, you could see like the beginning workings of the character that, or like the comedy style that he ended up becoming famous for. And thank God he was not a huge part of this film. Because him.
Imagine
and
if he was Charlie.
Oh, that would have been awesome, actually. Anyways, some dork named Richard says hello to Peggy Sue, and she's like weirdly over the top excited to see him again, which I'm sure has nothing to do with the fact that it turns out this dude is a billionaire after high school.
And she's trying to become single again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say she was single, but I guess they're still together.
They're
Not divorced
separated.
yet.
Yeah, I think they're like separated. Yeah.
Yeah. Richard asks where Crazy Charlie is, and Peggy says he won't be there since they're getting a divorce. And I guess that was part of their divorce hearings, is they divided who gets to go to the reunion. I don't know. That was weird. I thought that was a weird thing. Anyways, but they're interrupted by one of those That Guy from That Thing actors who tries to sell Richard insurance.
Yeah. Okay.
That guy who looks exactly the same in high school as he did at the
As he
reunion.
does. Yeah, as he does at the reunion.
He didn't even try with his character.
They're like, there's not enough makeup. We're out of money. It costs too much to de-age you.
Spent it all on Jim Carrey's crew cut.
Francis spent it bailing Nick out of fucking jail from stealing a chihuahua.
Paying off the cops for that drunk driving charge. They didn't end up in jail.
All jokes, Mr. Cage. All jokes. Allegedly.
Hey, proven not to have happened.
Exactly.
In a court of law.
Yeah. In
or civil court.
Carol welcomes Peggy Sue to the single scene. She says she should think of men like houses and just keep trading upward. Okay.
Fuck you, boomers. And that's why 2/3 of us can't afford houses right now.
We can. We just default on them eventually and then be homeless. But we could be in a house for like a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm almost done. So. About 6 months left.
And then squatters' rights kick in.
Yeah.
Carol says Peggy and Charlie seem to have a great marriage, but Peggy says they got married too young, and it's not so bad since she has 2 great kids and owns her own bakery. I kind of have a feeling it used to be like a 5-star restaurant. And Crazy Charlie now lives in the woods with a pig. I kind of feel like that's where the story's headed.
It'd be awesome.
He comes back to the reunion. She wakes up from the coma and he's like, I don't fuck my pig.
I don't fuck my pig.
I know you've been telling people I've been fucking Janet. I don't fuck my pig.
Fuck Janet, she's a bit of a pig. But.
This
she also says if she.
This is the prequel. Peggy Sue's the wife that died. She had a heart condition and she died, and then Charlie changed the name to Rob and wouldn't live off the grid.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. She also says if she knew what she knows now back in high school, she'd do a lot of things differently. I think this is some sort of foreshadowing, which is good because I'm not smart enough to fucking follow the themes or plot line of this film. So beat me over the head with fucking foreshadowing and literally tell me what's going on. This movie's
It'd be nice if the movie actually seemed to have a theme or something, some message you should take from it.
Yeah.
Instead of just a general sense of confusion and unease.
Don't go to your high school reunions. That's what I take away.
Life used to be great, but it's not. But it is. I don't understand. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah,
we'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there. Some guy yells at Richard for inventing computers or something, and a woman rolls up on Peggy Sue. And sorry, that's just a funny way to put that. And a woman rolls up on Peggy Sue and Carol in a wheelchair. She seems to remember every detail about Peggy Sue in high school. She must have like that Stephen Hawking's disease, which kind of makes me wonder if she too enjoys watching naked little people stand on stools while trying to solve complex math equations. Allegedly.
Who doesn't, dude? Who doesn't?
Quick fact, I know we touched on this before, but in case you skipped or you're only watching this, I figure we'll go over it again. But this character, the gal in the wheelchair, was mostly cut from the flashback portion of the film. We were supposed to find out that she became paralyzed in a cheerleading accident, but Peggy Sue stops it from happening in the alternative reality, and we would see that play out later on, I guess. But like I said, it got cut.
I just wonder, like, if in the edit he was like, "Oh, well, we're undoing everything that Peggy did in that flashback at the end, so." Yeah. Maybe we shouldn't show her saving her from becoming paralyzed.
Yeah, I have some questions about the ending and how it then, like, yeah, we'll get to it. But yeah, I have a question of how the fuck he wrapped it up. And I feel like it got more muddied now that I know that he went back and reshot the ending. Next, we cut to Jim Carrey and Carol doing a line of coke where he says getting access to pure pharmaceutical grade cocaine is the best part about being a dentist, which made me realize I'm definitely going to the wrong dentist because I've never once been offered cocaine.
Screw Novocaine. I want that
cocaine just sitting around.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'd rather have them numb me up with coke than Novocaine because I always end up biting my fucking lips.
Just rub it on your gums.
Yeah, just rub it on my gums. Drill away, doctor, and then proceed with my root canal. We see Peggy Sue ogling a picture of some guy named Michael Fitzsimmons, and it's clear that she's definitely rubbed one or two out to this guy since high school. We also learn that this guy is way too cool to come to the reunion. It was pretty hot to picture until, her rubbing it out, until I realized it's the same dude who played Benny in The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. And then I was not as turned on. I still finished, but, it wasn't as enjoyable. Then Carol interrupts that moment by saying she still has a thing for her first boyfriend, who's played by Jim Carrey, and recalls him saying, "Whatever Walt wants, Walter gets." Just let that sink in there. Bet you'd say that back in high school, and then they all giggle like they just did some of that amazing coke we saw being snorted a few minutes ago. That was so weird. This whole intro was fucking weird. Anyways, yeah.
Establish all of their characters and all the things they might possibly have said way back in high school, so that we can have a callback to it later.
Yeah, it was just like, what are you doing? You're cramming. Yeah. Anyway, the beginning of this is so jarring. Peggy Sue asked Richard the billionaire to dance to get him out of a weird interview or something with that snarky bitch. Pretty sure that was God damn it. Pretty sure that was Rita Skeeter's mom. I'm sorry, I just rewatched all the Harry Potter films if you can't tell by all these references.
What was the deal with that chick? Like, I barely mentioned it throughout the breakdown, but like there was just one girl like doing interviews with everybody, and she was just a complete bitch to everyone. Yeah. And then we see her in high school, and she's a complete bitch to everyone back then too.
I think that's just that old trope that there's always that snarky, bitchy teenage chick
bully
who's bullying the.
Maybe Peggy Sue caused something horrible to happen to her, and then he cut that out. She's the one that got paralyzed. Funny if she was paralyzed. Yeah. Save the one chick, and the accident happens to the other chick. And
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I just think it is that stupid trope that there's always like the bully in high school, and that chick was the one that they.
Yeah, but she gets her comeuppance because she dumps a pen all over her.
Yeah, she squirts on her. Squirts a pen. Anyways, Richard complains that nobody used to pay him any attention in high school since he was a nerd. Fucking nerds. But now everyone wants a piece of him since he's rich and successful. Now, this is a good lesson here. I think this is a good lesson, kids. This is how people used to get back at their high school classmates rather than loading up a fucking AR-15 and taking it to school. Okay? This is a more productive way.
It's a long game. It's harder, but more fulfilling. It benefits the world.
It's way more fulfilling to become rich and successful.
I don't know if it's more fulfilling, but
I mean, it's better than spending the rest of your life getting butt fucked in prison.
Well, most of them don't make it to prison.
Yeah.
I was trying to be optimistic here, gentlemen. He tells Peggy Sue that he appreciated her being nice to him in high school and that he would have slipped her the first "don't come to school tomorrow" no, if it hadn't been the 60s. we suddenly cut to a balloon rising to the rafters and reveal the greatest actor since Pokey and the Gumby Show, Crazy Charlie. He catches Peggy Sue's eye, and she is pissed to see her soon-to-be ex has decided to attend his own high school reunion. Fucking prick.
What a bastard.
What a piece of shit.
What an asshole. How dare he? Everyone is overjoyed to see him in his leisure suit with his fake tan, slick-back blonde hair, and he makes eyes at Peggy Sue. Some guy says Charlie's daughter is a real doll, and then he says, "Why I oughta." And then they laugh like it's the funniest thing that they've ever heard. What the fuck do you guys think?
Happens like 8 times in this movie.
Like was that in a movie that had come out, like just come out in the 60s or something?
I saw it like when I was researching. It was I feel it's like a Jackie Gleason thing or something like that.
That's probably that.
And it was like real funny if you were from the time, but it's like stupid to Peggy because she's not from the time. So every time she hears it, she doesn't laugh. Everybody else does. But then it's at the high school reunion. Which, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're just calling back to their better days.
Charlie's visibly upset that his wife wants nothing to do with him, so he sulks away, and some guy in tight pants hops on stage to whip out the fakest sounding announcer voice I've ever heard to announce the prom king and queen of the reunion.
The reunion committee has given this a lot of thought and decided on 2 people who best represent the spirit of Buchanan High's class of 60.
They named Richard the Billionaire King, since, having tons of money is all it takes to be on the top in our society. And rather than call everybody a cocksucker, Richard uses the platform to thank all the assholes who treated him like shit in high school. Once again,
that would have been the perfect moment to have his.
Yeah.
He's taking the high road.
You guys all thought I sucked.
Yeah. Thanks for the crown, cocksuckers.
He's doing a backhanded version of it.
Yeah.
They're all too stupid to get that he's still insulting him because them bullying him led to him being a nerd and
being
successful.
He was a nerd already, but then it motivated him to become rich.
Yeah.
He invented a thing that reads books to blind people. Like a microphone.
Audiobooks? Oh my God, he invented audiobooks.
Libro FM.
Then goofy announcer guy names Peggy Sue queen, and she's so overwhelmed by the honor that she has a heart attack and passes out while her daughter says, "Mom, you can't die. I'm mad about you." It's like, you guys really think any of our fan will understand these references?
Oh my God.
This is making me realize how fucking old we are.
It's a slightly dated reference.
Our version of Why I Oughta.
I guess I don't. Yeah.
Remember that show, Mad About You?
Remember that show from the 90s?
Wasn't even one of the good ones.
Nope.
I mean, Friends?
Hated that show.
I think everybody did.
It made me hate Helen Hunt because I actually liked her before that. And Paul Reiser. Ugh.
Some crazy strobe lights go off as Peggy lays on the ground, and next we see Gilda the Good Witch, who tells her... What? Glinda. Oh, yeah.
Glinda.
That's exactly as soon as I wrote it, I was like, he's going to say this wrong.
Yeah, I think I said the same thing. In Wild at Heart.
Yep.
Some crazy strobe lights go off as Peggy lays on the ground. And next we see Glinda, the Good Witch, who tells her, "Charlie has already forgiven you, Peggy Sue." Wait, no, that's a different movie. Again. Peggy wakes up in 1960 at a blood drive where she sees Carol, who's decidedly less yuppie than when we saw her at the reunion. And Charlie, who has even more Elvis-looking hair than in his commercial. He does his Dracula impression wearing fake teeth, and he tells her he wants to suck her blood by saying, "Blood, blood, 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 blood. I want to suck your blood. I also want to suck your Twinkie." Which I guess we probably should have mentioned that Peggy Sue is a hermaphrodite, so it's not as weird as you think.
Or he was like, what if he was thinking like, "Oh man, if my uncle ever does a Dracula movie, I'm a shoo-in. It's gonna be great."
He tried.
Yeah.
He also wanted to play Sonny's kid in Godfather 3, which would have been great to watch Sofia Coppola and Nick Cage both fuck up a Godfather movie.
She asks him if she's dead, and before he answers, he turns into Pee Wee Herman and says, "No, you are the undead." And he kisses her passionately, stirring up butterflies she'd long since forgotten in her Twinkie. Then Charlie goes full on pokey with his high, weird voice and eats Peggy Sue's Twinkie while a nurse throws him out of the gym. It's fucking weird. Just awful start to a movie. Peggy's understandably freaked out seeing her classmates no longer in obvious old people makeup anymore, and is confused how she ended up back in 1960.
Now they're just not wearing makeup.
Yeah.
But now they're like 30-year-olds playing 17-year-olds, and it's even more confusing.
Why don't you have fake liver spots anymore?
Yeah, some of that makeup was like, wow, I thought they're supposed to be in their 40s, not their fucking 60s.
Right? Yeah, I think like Charlie has like all gray hair, or it's like, I thought you said it was blonde, but I thought it was supposed to be gray. Like, I don't know.
Charlie's supposed to be my age.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not supposed to be in his 90s.
Yeah.
Jesus,
they made him look older than Peggy Sue's dad in the 60s.
Yeah, they did actually. Carol and Maddie drive Peggy Sue to her childhood home through 1960, complete with old cars, signs, and of course, the song Tequila playing just to hammer the point home.
The Pee Wee Herman voice? Is that why? Oh, wait, that wasn't until like the year after this.
Yeah.
Or no, same year. That movie came out same year this one did. 86, I think that's when Pee Wee's Big Adventure came out.
Something like that,
yeah. Peggy enters her old home to find her mom young again, which is a shock to her. So she gives her mom a big hug and heads up to her teenage bedroom. I guess looking the exact same age as your mom runs in the family because Peggy's mom also looks way too young. She's considerably overwhelmed and asks, "What is going on?" to herself. Her little sister Nancy, who's played by Nick's cousin, Sofia Coppola, is weirded out by Peggy Sue being happy to see her. Sophia shows off the wooden nasally acting she made famous in The Godfather 3 by asking Peggy Sue why she's suddenly being nice to her. And Peggy says, "I want us to be closer. I have too many unresolved relationships in my life." I think it's fair to say that Sophia probably took some notes from her cousin and also took inspiration from Pokey for her role.
Teenagers are weird, and you're the weirdest.
She's got a bit of that too. A little bit high pitch.
Quick fact.
Why are you happy to see me?
That's actually a better reading than what she gave. A better performance. Quick fact. Sofia Coppola, director Francis Ford Coppola's daughter, plays Peggy Sue's little sister. Sophia would later direct Kathleen Turner in The Virgin Suicides in 1999.
I'm so happy that she became a director.
Yes, and I
didn't
Kathleen
continue
Turner
acting.
agrees with you. She's like, "You're much." Hold on, let me do this. You're a much better director than actor.
She turned into Paul Schrader.
Oh, they sound similar. They sound so. I couldn't help. It was just a side note, a side tangent. I could not. Every time she talked in this film, I could not help but picture her character in King of the Hill. Because she plays Buck Strickland's wife. And that's all I can fucking picture. Oh, anyways. Then Peggy Sue suggests they play Monopoly because, you know, when you're having a crazy hallucination that you've been transported back in time to resolve mistakes of the past, you know, the first thing I would want to do is play a game of Monopoly. You know, it only takes fucking hours instead of spending, you know, more time with my mom or my dad, because it sounds like they all had horrible deaths, or my sister, who apparently had a horrible death too, which they just never address.
What?
Well, we see that her mom and dad are alive in the like little moment where she wakes up from the coma. There's like pictures of the people who came to visit her while she was in the hospital.
Really? I didn't track that. I think
you can't really tell because they look exactly the fucking same, except their hair's gray. But you see her mom and then you see her dad.
I think I was too distracted by Nick's appearance,
yeah,
and her shitty old people makeup. Everything else in that room,
which is way different from her makeup in the reunion.
Way different. Yeah. Like they didn't even go back and look at what they shot. They just like
because they were shot 6 months later, and they were like, "Yeah, everybody will have forgotten the beginning." of the movie.
Exactly.
Remember the girl in the wheelchair? Neither do I.
But there's a girl in a wheelchair? No. Anyways, we cut back to Peggy Sue and Nancy watching TV, and Peggy tells her sister not to eat any of the red M&Ms. Quick fact. While visiting 1960, Peggy Sue warns her sister about eating red M&Ms. Red M&Ms were discontinued in 1976 when red dye number 2 was named as a suspected carcinogen. M&Ms never used red number 2 and weren't bad for you, but they removed the red M&Ms from production anyway to avoid scaring consumers who had heard about the bad red dye on the news. They quietly introduced them back to the public in like a decade later, like 10 years or so later,
sometime in the 80s. Came back. I remember it was like a kind of a big announcement that red M&Ms were coming back, but I feel like they said something about it not having red dye number 2.
Yeah.
Is that when Billy West got the job as the red M&M?
That would have been like early 90s, I think.
It might have been, yeah.
Yeah, that's actually probably a good point. That's probably when they started using him, and then the yellow.
It's like the mascot for M&M's.
The mascots for M&M's, yeah.
I
still think the green one's the sexiest.
I want to fuck this M&M.
Then Peggy says, "Drink? I'm having one," and raids her dad's liquor closet where she chugs whiskey like she's about to ask a guy working on her fence to murder her wife. Yeah, that's Color Out of Space and Grand Isle reference for all y'all that haven't seen those two films.
It's hard to keep up.
What a tonal shift it would be.
It already is kind of a weird shift. Like
just shooting bottles off of the fence, just drinking PBR, and then
it is just weird that she's just like, I need a drink. Like,
yeah,
was she supposed to be an alcoholic in her future life? I don't know if we were supposed to get that.
Yeah, we don't see her drinking. She doesn't drink at the reunion. No. We don't see her drinking at home. You think if she was an alcoholic, she'd be drinking ahead of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It just seems pre-gaming. Like, it's a weird reaction. I guess it's supposed to be comedy. Yeah, I need a drink or whatever, but it's just that's a weird way to
commentary
cope.
On that time. Like
there's 60s, a lot of these little moments though throughout the movie that are just kind of like, why?
Yeah.
What? Is it just to keep you feeling like it's surreal and weird? I don't get it.
Maybe it was meant to keep you wondering: is this real? Is this fake? Like, what, is she dead? Is she alive? She's really
been back in the 60s for like 3 hours and is just chugging her dad's whiskey. Like, it's so strange.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah. Speaking of her dad, he bursts into the house and asks them, "What is that? What is out on the street?" He reveals that he bought a new car, and Peggy drunkenly laughs at how stupid her dad is for buying an Edsel, which I've never heard of that car. Since she
went out of business.
Yeah, obviously that's why she's laughing. Also because she's an unappreciative asshole.
It's a beautiful car. Like, fuck off.
It looks great.
Yeah.
Piss off, Peggy Sue, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
She's really thinking, if I could go back in time, I'd laugh at the time my dad bought a car. Because they went out of business.
My dad surprised us with a brand new fucking car. What a cunt.
I acted all happy at the time, but I'd rather go back and tell him how stupid it is.
Stupid he is.
You're a dumbass, Dad.
Like, Ford and Impala?
And drink all his booze.
Peggy stumbles inside, chugs some more whiskey as her dad tries to ground her, and 40-something-year-old Peggy is rude as all hell to her parents. Like, are we supposed to be rooting for her? Like, right? Like, she's supposed to be the character that we're cheering for, right?
Yeah.
At this point, no, not at all.
Yeah, she's not a very likable character.
No. At any point, I don't like her at all through the whole movie.
No.
I like Nick Cage's character way more.
Yeah.
And he's the asshole.
Yeah. Next, Peggy's mom tucks her into bed to sleep off her bender, but rather than wake back up in 1985 with Marty McFly, she wakes back up in 1960.
I did like that, though. Our dad was basically just like, go deal with her daughter. Like, take care of her fucking lush. Like, she takes after you.
She's a lightweight like you.
I mean, I'm going to beat her if I go up there. So you better. 60s.
Why I oughta.
How about I put a cigarette out on your face?
Act 2, The Conflict.
Peggy apologizes to her dad for being a drunken bitch and dunking all over the surprise reveal of a new car he must have been working for years to accomplish. And then Peggy says that her mom and dad are the best parents a girl could ever have. I hate that. Their delivery of that line is so terrible in that scene.
You know, Mom and Dad, you are the best parents a girl could ever have.
You too.
You mean it's Oscar worthy?
Huh?
I think you mean it's Oscar worthy.
Yeah. Then she asks her mom to sit down for breakfast, and mom is shocked since usually after breakfast, her mom has to thanklessly clean every square inch of the house and sob for a few hours while thinking about the joyless existence that is being a housewife in 1960. She just seems miserable this whole movie.
Yeah.
Wife's work is never done.
Hey, it's the illustrious life of being married to a haberdasher. Right? Her dad
Can we
sells hats.
sound any more older?
Working at a haberdashery.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I just love that word. It's one of my favorite words.
I could tell.
Yeah, it's a great word. Very seldom used these days.
Yeah.
Apparently was because of John F. Kennedy, because Kennedy didn't wear a hat, and that became out of style. Should have worn a helmet.
Right.
Oh, God.
We hear a goofy horn and see that Charlie has come to pick Peggy Sue up for school. He calls out to her in a voice more ridiculous than his Deadfall character by saying, "Baby." As she again starts to remember why she fell for this big-toothed, goofy-voiced weirdo in the first place. His car. It was always just because of that blue Chevy. Which, quick fact, the blue 1958 Chevy Impala convertible that Nicolas Cage drives was actually given away in a sweepstakes tied to the opening of the film. Somebody is still driving that 58 Chevy.
Damn.
We should track it down. Figure out who's got it. Do a follow-up.
It's a beautiful car. It's really nice. Especially so that's a 1958. This is 1960. That means that somehow he bought that car probably brand new with his job as, a TV salesman.
Right. Well, I think he said he's part owner at that point, and his dad gives him part ownership
Towards the end.
At the end,
yeah.
But that goes back to he comes from money. His dad owns that record appliance shop, whatever the fuck.
Appliance store.
Back then, it cost like $38 in a Snickers bar to buy a car and a
true.
house
That car probably did cost like $3,000 back then.
You could buy a giant house if you were a haberdasher and a brand new car.
How many more times can you say haberdasher throughout the rest of the episode?
That's not his favorite word. See,
every time her dad shows up, which I guess is never for the rest of the movie because I don't think he shows up much more of it.
Except for when he's posing with that giant moose, the gigantic moose head later on.
Yeah, I don't even remember that part.
Charlie tries to give her a kiss, and she says she has a headache, which is probably something he'll hear a lot once they're married.
It felt like that was like the tried excuse she's used, so she just threw it out there.
I have a headache. Headache. Sorry, Kathleen Turner. He backs out of the driveway at 90 miles an hour for some reason, and then says he agrees with her about the two of them seeing other people. A weird beginning to his character here. Also reminiscent of Deadfall. Mm-hmm. Fucking fucker.
You're just picking her up for some fun time family fun.
Then he tells her not to start crying again and strokes her hair before telling her he'll probably be a famous musician within 3 years, so they should bang other people to comparison shop in the meantime. I'll probably be a big musician, Dottie.
Dottie!
You should see other people.
I'm listening to reason.
You mean my Huang? She says they should just break up now and happily hops out of the car. And then Charlie chases after her, saying they should go to prom first and they shouldn't upset their parents by breaking up before graduation. He was bluffing. He just wanted to get a rise out of her. You can tell because he never actually wanted to break up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In class, Peggy Sue happily sings America, My Country, 'Tis of Thee, while everyone else is confused as to why she's stoked about singing this song and why they're not singing the Pledge of Allegiance instead.
Yeah.
Was that a thing? Patriot. Was it like
I don't know. The Pledge of Allegiance I know wasn't a big thing until the Cold War, but I thought it was a few years before. Maybe not. Maybe it didn't become more widespread until later. And it was introduced in the 50s, I think. But I was
going to say, like, this is 1960, so.
But maybe this was more common back then. I don't know.
Some anachronism lost to time. It's weird in general to just get up and sing a song in the middle of class. If you think about it, but we all did it. I don't know if anybody does it anymore. I don't think they do.
I don't think they do.
I think we stopped in high school too. I don't remember doing it in high school.
I don't think people do it in high school in general.
No, we did. My school did. But
did you?
Mm-hmm. That's because of where you grew up, dude.
I grew up in a way more hillbilly area, and we didn't sing the Pledge of Allegiance. Peggy fails a test that she didn't know she had to study for, and then tells a teacher named Mr. Snellgrove that she'll never have the slightest use for algebra. And after Carol, the yuppie girl, claps her hands, Mr. Snellgrove asks, "Who said that?" Who said that? It's a weird one. I feel like somebody must have said something. No, I don't. Next, we see the guy Peggy said she always wanted to bang back at the reunion, Michael Fitzsimmons, saying that Ernest Hemingway was a hack, and Peggy gets hotter than Georgia asphalt when he makes eyes at her. Walter, who's Jim Carrey, if you remember, and Charlie, talk about Charlie having to work on poker night since his dad is making Charlie work at the electronics store. Did high school kids have poker night?
60s kids did, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. These kids did a lot of weird shit for being teenagers.
You think like older people are going to have like Pokemon nights?
Oh my God, I already do.
Zoomers are going to have Pokemon nights or something?
Yeah, I can see that.
It's just me and myself, but I still play Pokemon cards. I'm undefeated.
Just painted my penis up as
Pokemon Magic. It's probably all going to be played. I mean, it's a card game, so I'm sure we played it like retirement homes.
Yeah, I could see that. Magic the Gathering at the fucking retirement home.
Mm-hmm.
They're all watching The Office on repeat.
I got Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! On one screen, The Office on the other.
They all laugh about Peggy telling off the algebra teacher, and things get weird as Walter points a banana at someone, and the announcer guy from earlier says, "Why, I oughta." Recurring joke that just not funny at all. It's funny to everyone except Peggy Sue because she's not from the time anymore.
Right, I guess.
But it's also funny to everyone at the reunion except for her.
I was going to say that does confuse me because if it was such a popular thing, just because she's back in time doesn't mean that that still wouldn't have been culturally, or that would have been part of her cultural influence growing up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just like we still
maybe
have,
she didn't think it was funny back then too.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. She did seem kind of like a bitch back then.
Yep.
But it was like the equivalent of like all those stupid Jim Carrey jokes from the 90s.
Or I guess it'd be like for me, it'd be like equivalent of people going, "What's up?" That was really big when I was in high school.
But
and
it's still
dumb as hell.
That shit's still funny.
You're teleported back to early mid 2000s, and everybody's going, "What's up?" You'd be like,
and laughing their asses off, and you're
like it's the funniest fucking thing in the world.
So what I'm getting is Nigel was a bitch back in high school. Stuck a bitch.
Yeah.
And I married my high school girlfriend.
You got married too young.
You got
two kids you love, but you'd gladly trade them off to fuck Michael Fitzsimmons.
Right. Go back in time and spend several days before even thinking about your kids once. That's one of my questions I wrote. It's like, is she even going to think about them?
Yeah, she does, because she talks about her kids.
She does eventually, but it takes a long time.
It takes a while to give a shit about her children again.
True.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Peggy eyes dark brooding too good for these doofuses Fitzsimmons, who is reading a book on a bench nearby. Peggy then spots Richard, the rich guy. Richie Rich.
That's
probably how they named him. studying alone, and she congratulates him on winning a math contest. He's very confused since no girl has ever spoken to him. And then the insurance salesman guy from the reunion calls Richard a four-eyed worm. Peggy Sue tells the guy to get lost. You know, he calls him a four-eyed worm because Richard remarked that he called him a four-eyed worm when they were in high school at the reunion. See, like every single moment that happens at the reunion has to happen in the past because that's how these movies work. You see. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it makes sense because it's all in her head.
Yeah,
so, but
it's just these are the last synapses of her brain firing, remembering everything that just happened at that reunion.
Mm-hmm.
She asks Richard to meet her after school while Walter and Charlie talk about her hooking up with Mr. Square Root. Why is she talking to him? Nice little moment there where Nick says, dun, 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 or whatever. Dun, dun, dun. The goofy moment where, like, I didn't even know Nick Cage and Jim Carrey were in anything ever together until, like, because this movie was on when I was, like, really little, and I definitely didn't recognize Jim Carrey.
No.
But somehow Jim Carrey and Nick Cage doing wacky shit together is really unfunny for some reason. Which you would think it would be the opposite, but no.
They don't have good chemistry.
Takes a special kind of filmmaking, I guess.
Yeah.
to accomplish that.
Charlie says Richard is a nice guy. So this kind of sets up a thing where we kind of see that Charlie's he's a good guy at heart. So he wasn't like talking about what a dweeb this Richard guy is at that point. He was already saying like, oh, he's a nice guy. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't fuck him, but anyway, Charlie says Richard is a nice guy, and Jim Carrey does the signature throw-up face that made him famous.
He perfected that at a young age, and it hasn't changed.
It's the same thing, yeah.
It's
a great moment in Dumb and Dumber when he whips that out when he realizes that Harry's with his girl.
Yeah. And in Ace Ventura when he realizes that Finkel is Reinhorn?
Yeah. Or in The Mask when he... No.
Or in, what is it?
Liar,
number 23.
Yeah.
In Truman Show when he finds
the Truman Show, when he realizes his dad's still alive.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Or like in the promo for Hedgehog 3.
We cut to twirling a baton practice where Peggy once again.
There wasn't even like
Michael
an instructor
Fitzsimmons.
there or a coach or anything. They were just out fucking around.
That's what
in
you
uniform
did
too for some reason.
Yeah,
I think it was like just cheerleading practice, but like as self-taught.
What do you practice?
I guess.
I guess.
Probably because the teachers look the same age as the students. Confuse people. She once again ogles Michael Fitzsimmons as he's like running on the track, which is the exact same picture of him that was up on the wall as well. She's twirling a baton. Just take the pictures all at the same time. Fuck it.
Yep.
She's interrupted by a Muppet yelling, "Baby!" Oh, wait, that's Charlie again. He does sound like a Muppet. Yeah.
That sounds like Patrick Mahomes.
That's true. He tells her, "I love it when you twirl your baton." Always works on the ladies. He doubles back on their conversation from earlier since he was bluffing about seeing other people and decides his 3-part plan of being a famous singer or whatever while smashing Random Strange for a while is totally unworkable. He says he can't stand the thought of Peggy with other dudes, and she says it must make him feel rejected, worthless, miserable, which I'm sure is how she felt when Charlie cheated on her with that bimbo who has a head for knowing.
Mm-hmm. Janet.
And when he says, "Yeah, She says, "Good," and runs off. I like that moment. Good. Fuck you then. Then he pops a Mentos or something and closes his eyes.
Sucks on a wowie whistle.
I think it was supposed to be like he's taking like an antacid or something, and he's like actually
stressed out. Yeah, I don't know.
I think that's what we're supposed to get from that. Like Peggy's giving him all sorts of mixed signals here.
Yeah.
Peggy meets up with Richard in the physics class and tells him about traveling back in time, since she assumes he's the only one smart enough to figure out what the hell is going on. After a bunch of nerdy science talk, he says that time is like a burrito in that it can fold over itself, touching other parts. Which I guess is a good analogy.
I don't know. It just made me want Mexican food.
Mm-hmm.
I'd make a joke, but I can't. At first, he thinks she's making fun of him by saying she's from the future, but eventually realizes she's serious when she tells him details about his own life that she couldn't possibly know. I think it was teaching old blind people.
He has a blind grandpa, so he develops technology that
audiobooks.
Yeah, he develops audiobooks for his blind grandpa.
Pretty sure audiobooks existed already. Pretty sure they had books on vinyl.
Yeah. Yep. They could record people speaking, so yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes just the idea's there, but nobody has it. So the text there, but nobody has the idea. Maybe they didn't. Maybe books on tape weren't a thing yet.
Maybe it's like a real time thing where it's doing the Stephen Hawking voice.
Oh fuck! Yeah, you know what? Because they do have those. They do have those that tech that you run it along Braille, or you could even run it along words. I think, or there was
it reads
texture.
it out.
Yeah,
okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, so maybe they did do that.
That makes sense. She tells Richard she thinks she had a heart attack at the reunion and is dead, and he suggests jumping in front of a fire truck to make sure. Why not?
Which I don't know about you guys, but when that happened, when that fire truck was coming, the audio got super loud for me. I had to turn down the fucking volume.
You were just hoping that she was going to die too, right?
I was like, can this movie be over?
Right. Yeah. Sadly,
checking the timestamp already at that point.
Yeah, I did that.
I did actually.
I did that, and it was the exact midpoint of the movie, which is the second time that's happened to me. I can't remember what other movie it happened on, but it was another one where I was just like,
it's the one you watched on Roku with commercials.
Oh, that was Weatherman.
Yeah.
That was actually a good movie.
Not to Nigel.
And it was Crackle, not Roku.
Oh, yeah, Crackle. My bad. Sorry, Roku.
How could you forget? Stunning endorsement for Crackle.
You guys remember Crackle?
Neither do I.
She briefly decides to give it a shot, but ultimately decides she doesn't want to die. I just want, what would have happened if she would have been hit there?
We'll never know.
She'd wake up at a blood drive when she was in middle school and she'd go even further back into the past.
She wakes up in the bed next to Bill Murray.
It's like Charlie still sounds the same even though he's in middle school. At home, we see that Peggy's mom is selling some jewelry to help pay bills. Since she can't get a job, since she's from the 60s.
Yeah.
But there was something I read where it was there was going to be more to that. Her husband was his business was failing because the craze of hats had gone away. Say it, Nigel.
Yep. The haberdashery.
Yep.
Things weren't going so great at the haberdashery. Which I guess would also explain why it would add some weight to when Charlie asks about it when he comes over. He's like, "Oh, things going at the hat shop or whatever."
Mm-hmm. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
just bought a new car.
I wonder if it had to do with that, or if we were going to learn that her mom ended up leaving her dad at some point. And that was her squirreling away some money to get out of there. But
yeah, trying to get out of
we'll never know.
Abusive relationship.
Why I oughta.
Hilarious.
Then he puts her in the hospital.
To the moon.
See, it's funny because he doesn't actually do it. But enough people did it that it was common. But he doesn't do it. He just says he's going to do it.
Exactly.
Comedy gold.
Comedy gold.
Hilarious.
Domestic violence.
ripe for comedy. All the way out, like in the 90s, they were still throwing jokes. I mean, Roseanne was like full of those jokes.
Yeah, I guess.
And racist jokes, of course.
And you had like Homer
Roseanne,
choking Bart. Homer was really funny.
Yeah.
Which they don't do anymore because people can't differentiate something so over the top.
People are dumb and the Simpsons are terrible now. So
Allegedly.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I haven't watched in like 20 years.
Yeah, I haven't. I don't.
No
think
one
I've
has.
watched
I don't think. Yeah.
Somebody is.
The phone rings, and when Peggy Sue answers, she hears the voice of her long-dead grandma and freaks out. She runs upstairs, and when her mom asks what the hell is the matter with her, she says she dreamed grandma died. And her mom comforts her and then asks about her and Charlie's sex life.
You mean his Wayne?
She says his teeth are too big, and when her mom presses her, she says he bit her lips. Sorry. All right, imagine that other part. For like 20 minutes, I was imagining him biting her lips. Sorry.
I didn't even catch that he was wearing fake teeth in this movie.
Yeah, he had fake teeth the whole time. Peggy says she's confused about a lot of things now, and Charlie is one of them. Her mom asks if Pokey is pressuring her to do things that she doesn't want to do, and then asks if Peggy knows what a penis is and to stay away from it.
Stay away
what
from
a
it.
penis is.
I like that. Yeah, so I guess there's an abandoned subplot of her mom being unhappy with her marriage or her dad or whatever.
True. Yeah.
Could have been.
The aforementioned penis pulls up in his blue Impala in front of the house and then prays to a picture of, I had to look this up, 50s heartthrob Fabian Forte that Charlie has glued to his sun visor. He says, "You're the best. Make her love me, okay? Feed me, charge me." Then he says, "Go get her, Tiger," and heads inside to find Peggy's dad standing in front of a ridiculously huge moose head that internet sleuths have mathematically determined would not fit through any opening in Peggy Sue's house.
God bless you, internet. God bless you.
Yeah. Who's sitting around like, let's see. All right, mathematically, let's see if you shifted it through the front door.
Heroes. That's who.
The internet. Charlie asks how things are at the haberdashery, since that used to be a thing. And Dad asks if Peggy Sue is acting strange to him, while Charlie comically eats a Rice Krispie treat in the cagiest possible manner.
Nancy, please. She seems to be a little bit.
I think he was like, this would be something my character would do, and then he's like, well, fuck, I got dentures in.
Yeah, I got fake teeth. I can't.
I can't get him around this thing. Jesus.
Can you imagine trying to eat rice, the stickiest of foods with fake teeth?
Yeah, when he went to go take a bite of that, I was like, oof, bad choice. And then
Gonna
you
lose
can see
those
the
teeth.
regret in his eyes.
Nick Cage doing weird stuff with food.
Yep, I almost made a badge last season, and then we had like no occurrences of it.
Yeah.
All last year.
Because then we'd have to go back and do it all over again for all the other movies.
Yeah, let's redo every single episode. Go back. Peggy's dad says Peggy is reckless, and Nancy says she's almost a juvenile delinquent. Sorry, I have to say it like her. She's almost a juvenile delinquent. Which prompts her dad to toss her out of the room before Nancy says, "Why I oughta." Which makes Charlie laugh like he just visited the dentist. Charlie says he likes Peggy's reckless nature since she's not like the other girls at school, and goofily explains that he plans to marry her.
In the past 2 years, I've been pleased to note that you and Mrs. Kilcher have provided your sacred trust with upbringing the woman that I plan to take off your hands.
Peggy's dad tells Charlie to cheer up his daughter, but not to bite her lips again. I mean, to restrain himself. His teeth are big, you see. They head to a makeout party full of all the people from the reunion, minus their old people makeup. Well, except for Joan Allen, who I'm pretty sure looked like an old woman when she was 12.
She looks so much older with that makeup on.
How does she always look so old? Like she's she looks like 60 years old in Face Off, and she's like 20 something.
It's the hair. Like she needs longer hair to help shape her face and make it more youthful. It's that short hair that just because she's got really sharp features.
Yeah, and those grainy glasses weren't doing her any favors in this movie.
Glasses, it's like, man, you're not helping yourself here.
she kind of looks like a librarian, like just the uptight old young woman librarian. Suddenly, the party turns into a concert where we see Charlie, Walter, and a couple other nameless extras who make up a doo-wop band called The Definitions.
And I think the announcer who brought him up on stage was the guy who announced the prom queen or the anniversary queen king.
That's
queen.
what he does. It's that's what he does for a living when he's not working at McDonald's or whatever the fuck he actually does.
Or it's just because he was emceeing at the reunion, so her synapses throw him into
just the
flashback.
MC guy. Yeah. I bet you never thought you'd see Jim Carrey and Nicolas Cage sing a cappella while dressed in tinfoil sport jackets, did you?
Check that off the list. Nick Cage and Jim Carrey doing a doo-wop song.
Yeah, so weird. Totally forgot that Jim Carrey was even in this movie. Charlie sings his ass off while doing eyebrow raises and showing off his pearly white horse teeth, while all the girls swoon like crazy, and the guys wish that he'd bite their Twinkies. Peggy Sue again remembers how she fell for this gangly doofus in the first place by saying, "He really is kind of cute, isn't he?" Anyways, that goes on for like 20 minutes while Jim Carrey does a goofy-ass scene from a different movie the whole time. And reminds us why he didn't become a movie star until he started playing the most over-the-top characters imaginable. After Charlie says, "Bye-bye," at the end of the song, Peggy Sue asks Charlie what he thinks of Richard, and he says he thinks he's a nice guy while making "I want to make Peggy Goo eyes" at her.
God damn it.
Let's make some Peggy Goo. She says Richard is trying to help her in physics, and Charlie says,
"Hey, who needs physics when we've got chemistry?"
It's a good line.
It is a good line. Yeah, he's quite charming. Yeah. And she says that he's pretty charming when he wants to be. And he says, "Yeah, I know." In the goofy as all hell voice that he chose to do. He says, "You're the perfect girl for me, Dottie." As in, is, was, and always will be, in another distinctly Cage delivery. Very, only he would make those choices.
You said Dottie?
I said Dottie, yeah.
Okay, I was like, is that intentional?
Yes. You're the perfect girl for me, Dottie. Then he says dancing was invented as a ritual to promote fertility. And when he gets a stiffy, Peggy pulls him into her, and he makes a noise and opens his mouth wide enough to eat a Rice Krispie treat. Which, like, I think he was trying to be sexy, but like, this is 1960, and he didn't expect Peggy to be like, "Yeah, fuck me right here, goofy asshole. Let's do this." Then things get real awkward. We cut to Charlie and Peggy Sue making out in his Impala next to some water. Which, like, where was that water? Is that like a?
It's at the old reservoir.
Did they go by the ocean or something?
No, they went to the old reservoir.
This whole movie is filmed in Santa Rosa and Petaluma, I believe. So I don't know. Just felt like some dock somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think some of it was filmed in LA, like I'd probably pickups and stuff, but I don't think this was. I think this was all filmed in Petaluma. Anyways, things get all sorts of sexy. Wait, did I say sexy? I meant awkward. Really awkward. Peggy Sue says she wants to make love, and Charlie says, "What? You mean sex?" Then he laughs and says, "Intercourse. You want to have intercourse?" Charlie tries to restrain himself like Peggy's dad told him to, but she insists even after he says she was the one who said that they should wait until they get married. She asks if Lucky Chucky wants to come out, and he says, "Who?" Then she says, "You know, your love machine, your throbbing thrill hammer, your thing." And he says, "You mean my whang?" Oh my God. He asks her what the hell is going on, and she says she made a mistake trying to grab Lucky Chucky. He takes her home where she apologizes, and he says, "Save it, woman, humiliator," and then speeds off.
I wish you would have. I wish you would have been like, "What? I thought you could eat a peach for hours."
You always said that.
You always said that.
You could eat my little Peggy Peach for hours. I guess Peggy didn't want to head home until her panties dried out, so she heads to a place called the Donut Hole. Which, you know, never mind, I won't say it. That's how you save your virginity back in those days. Donut Hole.
She was looking for a different type of glaze.
Inside the hole, she finds Michael Fitzsimmons drinking coffee, reading a book, and thinks to herself, "Don't mind if I do." Fitz bitches about Hemingway some more and yearns to be like Jack Kerouac, because of course he does. She heads out with him on his motorcycle to a soundstage somewhere with a fake-ass looking backdrop.
My God. So bad. It was so bad.
What was that? Like, why? Why
I wonder
there?
if that was
just go outside.
Like part of the shoots, because it was so bad. I mean, it was, even with the shitty quality of that movie, it was fucking obvious how terrible that backdrop was.
I mean, Francis Ford Coppola said he wanted more tears, and I jerked some tears. Wait, did I say tears? Sorry.
I did use a lot of Kleenex during that scene.
They smoke weed, and Peggy Sue gets all dewy-eyed about how deep and brooding Michael is, since he wants to leave this town behind and write for a living. Oh, and he says he's gonna check out of this bourgeoisie motel, push myself away from the dinner table, and say, "No more Jell-O for me, Mom."
Is that what Crispin Glover's character was yelling?
Yeah, it sounds like somebody would say. The dance. No more Jell-O for me, Mom. This is about the time that Nigel was hoping that the Zodiac Killer would pop out of the bushes and kill these two idiots, so we didn't have to watch the rest of the fucking movie.
Yeah, timelines line up.
Yeah, it's true.
California in the 60s.
That's his MO.
Killing Lover's Lane,
Yeah, killed a lot of people on sound stages.
Oh, man.
He asks Peggy if she's going to marry Charlie and graze around like the other sheep for the rest of her life. And she says, "No, I already did that. I want to be a dancer." Then she dances around in her reefer madness before collapsing on a blanket Fitz laid out on the ground. And she asks if Fitzsimmons Persimmons want to come out to play. Lucky Chucky for Simpson. He then does a bunch of god-awful deaf poetry or whatever Mike Myers did in So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Yeah.
Then makes sweet, sweet love to her, which I'm guessing since they're in high school probably lasted 2 minutes. But as Flight of the Conchords once so eloquently put it, 2 minutes in heaven is better than 1 minute in heaven. Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
The next morning, Peggy Sue heads to Bodell's appliance store where she sees Charlie selling classical records to an old man. Like Stravinsky? How would Charlie even know about Stravinsky? I mean, I guess he's a musician, so
yeah,
maybe he is deeper than we give him credit.
Although I think he says he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
I think he's just saying that to not seem like
a
dork.
Yeah, yeah. That's how I took it.
Okay.
I mean, because as it progresses, you really learn how passionate he is about music, and so I was like, okay, he does actually understand. Like,
seems
he does
like a guy who would
different types of
appreciate
music,
Stravinsky,
classical music, and he just didn't want to seem like a nerd to her.
Yeah, surprised that Cage didn't whip out some stuff about classic silent films or something.
I'm surprised he didn't just start singing opera.
Sing opera, yeah.
Yeah.
So that they use this a lot in the Max Schreck films. He and Peggy Sue head into a listening booth. Remember those? Those were cool, man. I wish those were still around. The stores aren't around anymore, so I guess it makes sense that listening booths wouldn't.
Physical media is no longer around.
Yeah. Peggy tries to apologize, but Charlie tells her, hush. Hush, baby. Hush. Then he says she must get the same urges that guys do, so it's all good that she tried to get Lucky Chucky out of his cage. Sorry. She says she's a grown woman with a lifetime of experience, and Charlie says, yeah, girls mature faster than guys. He says he put on the brakes the night before because he loves her and knows everything will work out because she's his baby. If he only knew that Michael Fitzsimmons was still sloshing around inside of his baby.
God damn it. The origins of the crocodile.
Act 3. It's about time to wrap this thing up.
We cut to Peggy Sue and Richard talking about stealing inventions that haven't been made yet before Peggy gets the bright idea to run into a store where she finds out that pantyhose haven't been invented. She runs off to invent them so they can make their first fortune together, but she's interrupted by her friends who ask why she didn't tell them about riding Michael Fitzsimmons' motorcycle. Then they talk about genital stimulation with the mouth. Wonder if they ever talked about cum tasting like bleach, like in Valley Girl. She says Michael is a true poet and that Charlie is free to go out with whoever he wants to. Carol's taken aback since she thought Peggy and Charlie were going to get married, and Maddie gets upset because she'd always pictured they'd all live on the same street and barbecue together for the rest of their lives, and that Michael doesn't look like the barbecue type. Later that night, Charlie uses a ladder to creepily sneak into Peggy Sue's window while doing some Nosferatu shadow puppets with his hands. See, he did get to put it in there.
Yeah.
Absolutely Nick Cage choice, not anything to do.
100%.
He lifts a pillow like he's about to smother Peggy Sue, but stops himself and throws the pillow. What? I just like, what a turn.
Yeah. Yep.
I guess so. It's like it's so she's thinking this is it. The version of him would murder her for sleeping, but then he decides not to. And then she decides to still be with him. This version of it, it's probably just best not to think about that one too much.
I wonder if that was an improv too.
Yeah, but I mean, you didn't have to keep it in.
Cage was about to smother her.
It's a big turn of the character. If it was an improv.
This is for making me steal that chihuahua. Stupid bitch. Yeah, occasionally I have a drink or two. What of it?
Why I oughta?
Why I oughta?
She wakes up shocked to find this clown in her bedroom, and he whispers, "Let's go down to the basement." So, yeah, he's definitely going to kill her. In the basement, he asks what's going on with that scuzzball Michael Fitzsimmons, and she says she just felt like going for a ride on his motorcycle. He grabs her and says, "Then it's true, damn it," while shaking her like a baby you just wish would shut up.
Oh, my God. It just keeps getting worse.
I don't know if I can do his voice very well.
That was perfect. That was amazing.
Charlie says he had a miserable time at his doo-wop show or whatever, and he wants to know if they're broken up. He says, "You're going to blow it, Peggy Sue. No one treats Charlie Bodell like this."
That felt like a Pee-wee moment, too. You're going to blow it, Dottie.
Oh, God. She asks why he talks about himself in the third person and why everything has to be an argument. So he says, "I've got the hair, I've got the teeth, I've got the eyes, and look outside because I've got the car too. I'm the lead singer, I'm the man. Why are you arguing with me?" And then she says, "Don't you take that tone of voice with me."
Just stop it.
God. Can you imagine trying to do this scene? Like this scene involves
very emotional scene.
He's just doing this god awful voice everybody hated.
The hair, Peggy. Why are you arguing with me?
Yeah, maybe she did deserve an Oscar for not laughing at every take that she had to do every single line he says.
Yeah, that's true.
Through tears, she said that it's over and that he went off with a bimbo named Janet. So he says, "What the hell? What are you talking about? Who is Janet?" She tells him that she wants him to be happy and to go off and finish college rather than wait around for a big break as a singer that will never happen. And he says,
"You don't know Zip. You think I'm gonna spend the rest of my life selling appliances, chasing women around the store like my father?"
Ah, yeah, he's exactly like his father. I wonder if his father sounds like
more
that.
over the top.
He's devastated that she doesn't love him anymore, and he vows to be just as big as his idol, Fabian Forte.
Feed me. Give me power. You're the man. I don't remember how that happened, but
you go, Tiger.
Go get him, Tiger.
Go get him, Tiger. At a primarily black beatnik dance hall, Peggy and Michael sit down in their booth where Michael says he's leaving town 10 minutes after graduation, and Peggy's excited to join this rebel without a cause into a new life. Until he tells her that he wants to start a polygamous cult in Utah. You can raise chickens.
It's almost as big of a turn as Charlie about to fucking kill Peggy Sue with a pillow.
Almost. Peggy quickly realizes that she's made a mistake since she'd rather be dead than live in Utah. I mean, polygamy is one thing, but Utah? Fuck that. He says they should let their passionate fire burn together one more time. And she says that he's going to be a terrific writer since he can whip out great lines like that. Coincidentally, Charlie just so happens to be sitting in with the band at this club. And when she hears him singing with the band, she seems to see a side of him that she never knew existed. And for the 14th time in this movie decides maybe she should just give him another shot. So we
can't help but love him.
Singing R&B. It's the key to my heart.
Is it because it wasn't like sappy love song or something like that?
Like, I mean, yeah. I mean, maybe it's like his other stuff he's just doing doo-wop music, which was kind of the popular thing that's all the rage. And this is like,
yeah,
you know, he's singing from heart now because she's broke up with him, and he's, yeah.
I guess if you think about it, he was like basically in the equivalent of like a boy band, and then she sees him singing
doing
with
some
like
more mature music.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, she likes the artistic, I guess, because she's drawn to Michael Fitzsimmons, and then turns out he's just bullshit. So, and then that Charlie's actually had the soul the whole time.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he, like, I guess in her reality, he must have never expressed it or never showed that side of himself.
Or he did, and she forgot about it, and then their life happened, and then he cheated on her and everything went, but she's remembering who he used to be and why she liked him in the first place, maybe.
Yeah. I don't think he ever showed that side to her, because spoiler alert, she talks about how they got married because she got pregnant at 18.
Yeah.
And I don't think she ever got to see that actual side of him.
So does that side of him not exist then in reality?
I think it does, but their lives changed the moment that she got pregnant. It was no longer about, for her, it was no longer about his dreams and his future.
Yeah.
And so,
but at the same time, all of this is in her head. So she's inventing him being in this group.
Yeah. So I didn't take it as her inventing it. I think it was her just remembering it or
yeah, maybe.
Could be. Yeah.
It may have never gone down like this, but maybe he had that spark and she knew about it at the time, and then their life sort of, you have kids and your life changes track, and to happen right out of high school would basically end your life and any plans you had for it, you have to adjust, and if you're not ready for it, you end up with their relationship and their lives.
Yeah.
Anyway, we see Charlie then meet with an agent of some sort, where the agent tells him he won't be taking Charlie on as a client, which makes Charlie wide open mouth laugh like a maniac and then slump down in his chair.
Sorry, Charlie. It? I don't think so, it happened, but not with you. It's
also another really weird Cage moment. He's staring at the table by the end of his laugh. It's really weird.
And she saw that, right? I'm trying to remember.
No,
she didn't.
She saw him singing. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is also weird. Like, so did this happen in the reality? Because it's all in her head. So if she wasn't there to see it, just like she wasn't there to see him doing Nosferatu fingers outside of her house, then why are we seeing it?
Don't ask questions, Nighty.
That's just what she pictures Charlie would do. That's the kind of guy he is.
The next morning, Peggy Sue stands outside Charlie's house, and when she sees him walking his dog, she admits to seeing him perform the night before. She says she wrote him a song that she's sure will be a hit, and he apologizes for creeping into her window and trying to smother her with a pillow and all that stuff.
My bad.
He asks if the world will still like him if he stops being Mr. Excitement, since there's more to life than music, and she says yes. At school, Peggy Sue sprays ink on that bitch who was interviewing everyone at the reunion. I should mention there's a whole subplot of Rita Skeeter being a cunt to everyone at the school. This was sort of just glossed over, by the way, and it's basically pointless. Lost in the edit, who knows?
Yeah.
Peggy Sue sees Richard, and she tells him that she's come to say goodbye, since she's going to throw herself in front of a fire truck after all. She says that she misses her reality and doesn't belong here anymore, but Richard suggests she change her destiny and marry him instead. Then she says, no, Peggy Sue got married. Case closed. I don't want to marry anyone. And Peggy storms out, but Charlie stops her by saying he reworked She Loves You, Yeah, Yeah, Yeah by the Beatles to She Loves You, Oh, 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 which is just as horrible sounding as you imagine.
She loves you, ooh, ooh, ooh. You love me, ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, I'm good.
I gotta go.
It's sort of like, she loves you, ooh, ooh,
oh, that's right.
Ooh. Just the way he does it is so terrible.
Which explains why he never made it in music.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think that previous scene, though, kind of went by fast when she's talking to Richard, but I think that's the crux of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's the only time it says the title in there, but it's basically like she's finally realized that what she really wants is none of this. She wants her own life that she never got a chance to live. But at the same time, she talks about missing her kids, this is the first scene. That's the first scene that she even addresses the fact that she has kids. Plural. I didn't know she even had a son. I don't think he's ever mentioned it at that point. Is he? Like that was
his name is dropped in the reunion, and then dropped at this point. I think in the film.
Because she's like, we saw her daughter, but she's got a daughter and a son, and she misses them. But then it's like, if she doesn't get married, she never has them. So I don't quite get how we're supposed to sympathize with her, because it's like
there's this message of kids out of existence.
Yeah, like there's this message of self-actualization and not having your entire life be defined by, you married this person or you married this person or you had these kids and whatnot, and she misses them. But then it's like you just completely want to get rid of all of it. And are we supposed to root for her? Are we like,
exactly.
You go, girl. It's weird.
It's how I felt the whole time, especially at the end. I'm just like, we're supposed to be rooting for this chick this whole time, or what? I don't really get it. I think the reason that the son isn't there is because this is the 25th anniversary reunion. He would have been, because she gets pregnant on her birthday.
Yep.
In real reality, and then that kid would have been like 24, so he would have been off and living his life, probably post college or whatever.
I guess, yeah.
And Helen Hunt's character is supposed to be much younger, 17, 18.
Peggy Sue tells Charlie that she's leaving to go see her grandparents, and he's upset since he made reservations for her birthday and canceled his tickets to go see Fabian. Peggy Sue takes a bus. Again, she's a bitch. Trying to do right by her.
Yeah. I mean, he's pulling out all the stops. I mean, he was kind of a dick at the beginning, but then quickly realized that he wasn't actually a dick. It was more like he was just projecting onto her.
Well, we also find out that it was her idea to see other people originally. Like, that's what he talks about. Right?
No, I think it was his idea, but he was bluffing. And
that's right, because she cried about it, and the next day he brought it up. Okay, yeah. Anyway, she blows him off to go visit her grandpa and grandma. She takes a bus to visit her grandma, and grandpa and her grandparents seem to have some weird supernatural ability to see the future and believe in past lives, I guess. Peggy Sue tells them that she's from the future, and they're totally on board with that insanity, since they're both just thinking some of her imagination anyway, and the last neurons firing in her dying brain.
I think what we were supposed to get from that is like she is dying in reality, like she's going through this major health event, and these are like the ghosts of her grandparents trying to help her get back to
makes sense
out of the coma
from the afterlife, and because they would be the only people in this story that are actually dead.
And all the lodge members.
Yeah, and they're all super old, so they'd be dead too.
Yeah, they'd be
they're all super old in the 60s. So yeah. So then the door just opens on its own, and Grandma says Peggy is browsing through time. And Peggy says she misses her kids that she's not planning to make in this reality, and that she named her daughter after her grandma. So she does. It's
very muddled.
Yeah.
I think there was supposed to be more of a point that we're not getting. I don't know.
The next day, Grandpa decides to take Peggy Sue to his Freemason Lodge meeting or something. Whatever. It's obviously based on some secret society, but it's not a real one.
Skull
or is
Bones,
it?
Baby.
Yeah. What is it? The lodge that the Flintstones belong to? That Fred and Barney are part of?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Water Buffaloes?
Water Buffaloes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
that's what it was like.
Scientology meeting.
So she can anyway. They go. He's going to take her to his Freemason Lodge meeting or whatever, so she can jack off in a coffin or whatever they do at those things. All I know about those lodges is that women aren't allowed, so I don't know why Peggy Sue is joining. Hey, they can show up to certain meetings.
Can they?
Yeah, I know. I went to a Freemason
you said
dinner or whatever, and they allow female family members of people, but they have like a special role that they have to fill, and they can't they don't go to the actual meetings. So I don't think there'd be any way that they'd bring her to a secret, super secret ceremony like they do in this.
Dude,
but who knows?
If you would have joined the Freemasons, we all would have been doing so much better by proximity.
Yeah, right.
It's just how things work in this country.
Yeah. except for me.
It's not the feeling I got from the guys that I talked to who were actual Freemasons at the club that I went to, but maybe they're just that
working in construction or something.
Yeah, they all just kind of seem like weirdos.
Yeah.
Well, in the car, Grandpa says he thinks he can help Peggy get back to her reality by doing some eyes wide shut ceremony or whatever with the lodge members. They all throw on their magic underwear and explain that their lodge was started by a time traveler in the first place. So, yeah, these guys definitely raped kids.
Oh, my God.
I don't make the rules, man.
Oh, God damn it.
Well, they do some zany ceremony with a bouzouki player, some eggs, and a bell while making bird hand puppets with their thumbs in their nostrils. And they chant in unison for a bit before the lights go out and Peggy Sue disappears. And they all think Peggy went back to her time, but somehow Charlie was able to run in, grab Peggy Sue, and whisk her outside without any of the old bastards seeing him. In perfect silence in like a second.
Yeah.
When the lights go out.
Yeah, he's real swift.
Yeah.
It's Lucky Chucky.
Charlie tells her he's going to quit singing and work at the appliance store, and that his dad gave him 10% of the business. He says that she must have been scared to settle down with him since he wouldn't be able to support her, and then gets down on one knee and proposes. But she says that he betrayed her and that he was never there for her and the kids, which is ever so slightly confusing to this 17-year-old version of Charlie.
The fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. She says she's not crazy enough to marry him twice, and Charlie apologizes for not being what she wants him to be in a low, raspy voice before popping back into Pee Wee Herman mode, saying, "Here, it's a birthday present." He hands her the locket.
He does that a few times where he like talks real low and then
loses the character voice he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah, he's just doing actual, like, I feel like that's how Charlie actually sounds, but he puts on this weird voice to be like, I don't know what he's going for, but
goofy, to be entertaining.
He hands her the locket that she had throughout the reunion and that she was desperate to find when she woke up in the past. She opens it to find a picture of the two of them as babies rather than her kids, like in the reunion.
But she mistakes
she's like, look, it's our kids. Or how did you get a picture of our kids? Actually, I don't remember their names because says it like twice in the whole movie.
Sid and Dexter. Dave and Buster, I think.
Yeah. And he's like, no, I got it from your mom. It's us as babies. Like, what? Okay.
I guess because they look like
what
their kids look like as babies. Makes sense.
Peggy Sue hugs Charlie and says she still loves him, and they fall to the ground in each other's arms. And we suddenly cut to a fading in and out dream sequence of the reunion. Beth, Peggy's daughter, trying to wake her. An old version of Peggy's mom. A doctor explaining Peggy had a problem with her heart that required a defibrillator. Her old dad. Beth saying Charlie has been by Peggy's side every day. Charlie saying he loves Peggy Sue. And finally, Peggy Sue waking up in a hospital bed. And the Tin Man was there. And the Scarecrow was there. And the lion was there too.
And you were the lion. Yeah, that's a weird... I don't know. I mean, it's supposed to tell a lot of exposition, I guess, because she has a heart attack.
She had a heart attack,
crazy.
So she's had a near-death experience, and that Charlie's been by her side the whole time because he still loves her, and we're all supposed to feel warm and fuzzy.
And her son didn't even come to visit while she was dying.
Thing too. They're like, we're just not going to cast.
Like, why even say that she has a son if you're never going to feature him in the movie at all, other than name drop him a couple times?
I think to explain why Helen Hunt is young
old
in that scene, and still living at home, because I'm sure that they wrote themselves in the corner thinking like, well, it's like 25th anniversary of her getting pregnant. So
oh shit, we got to have a kid who's 25. Anyway,
but I think that is supposed to explain that her parents were there visiting her at some point, because we see old versions of them. Old in comparison
and so
to what we just saw.
She, through her coma or whatever, had flashes of them showing up.
Yeah.
We see old Charlie singing Peggy Sue by Buddy Holly to his estranged wife by her bed, looking exhausted. So the song Peggy Sue by Buddy Holly exists in this universe, but the movie and story is based on the song in our universe.
But I think Peggy Sue Got Married, the song, exists in that reality too.
Okay. And she just happens to be named Peggy Sue.
Yeah.
And then,
just like people in this reality are named Brittany, and there was a song about Brittany's mom and how she had it going on.
It was Stacy's mom, I thought.
Oh, yeah, Stacy, my bad.
So it's saying Francis Ford Coppola should make a movie called Stacy's Mom Has Got It Going On.
I'd watch it. Have
the main character's named Brittany.
Brittany.
People keep calling her Stacy.
I'm not Stacy. What the fuck?
No.
Stacy?
Also, I guess he dyed his hair brown sometime between her passing out at the reunion and now, because he had blonde/gray hair at the reunion, and now he's got either a wig or something. Different colored hair. She wakes up.
Really went more all out on the old person makeup in this little moment than the reunion.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I don't know, maybe that was like Francis Ford Coppola just being like, well, they need to seem much older in this because they're real haggard and sad, and she just woke up from having a heart attack. I don't know.
Or maybe she's been in a coma for 10 years.
Yeah, maybe that's what happened.
Her son didn't show up because he actually died at some point.
Jesus fuck.
Maybe he died at childbirth. That's what happened.
Oh
that's why everything went off the rails for
fuck.
Peggy Sue and Charlie.
Yeah, oh my God. Okay. Anyway. We need some more tears. Stick that at the end.
By the way, our son died.
This reminds me of the way our son died.
He died of a heart attack that you passed on to him genetically.
She wakes up and is happy to see him, and he apologizes for dipping Lucky Chucky in everything that moves. Peggy asks about Janet, and Charlie says he dumped her because she thought that Big Bopper was a hamburger. So I guess that makes it all better, because she's stupid. And he doesn't want to be with her anymore.
She was a dumb bitch. Sorry, I love you. She had a real head for
It's
knowing.
so romantic. It's exactly what she wants to hear. Charlie shows her.
This was reshot and added to the movie on purpose.
Coppola wrote this part.
And then Nick Cage's boss comes in with a big grin on his face and goes, "Hey, you bought a bunch of money.
You're a famous musician now.
I want to sign you to this multi-billion-dollar deal.
We sold your album that you recorded with those black guys way back when.
Here's the royalties. We've been looking for you for 25 years.
Yeah.
Oh, and that game you bet on, and actually you won a bunch of money for it.
Oh, yeah. You won, and the lawsuit we filed on your behalf for the Beatles ripping off your song.
Oh my God.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Then Big Fate shows up with a crack pipe.
What? You ain't got no lucky crack pipe?
Anyway,
shoot her again. I can still see her soul dancing.
That's what they were doing when they were giving her the electric shock.
The shock.
Vin
Rames is shocking her back
harmonica.
And then fucking iguana just walks over the top of her.
Who's the fucking iguana?
At the reunion.
The doctor's played by Werner Herzog. She had a heart attack.
She almost died from a myocardial infarction.
If it were not for these iguanas, she would not be living.
Charlie shows her a book written by Michael Fitzsimmons with a dedication to her that says, "To Peggy Sue and a Starry Night." So what, that actually happened? Is Beth Michael's kid instead in this reality? In that reality? What? What?
It would have been their son, right?
Maybe
I'm guessing
he listened to Peggy Sue Got Married, the song, and it really helped him as a writer?
Or like, did he just have a book?
Polygamous cult?
Or like, did he have a book that got published while she was in a coma and he dedicated it to her because she had a heart attack while they were on stage at the reunion? That's what I thought kind of happened. Like, she's been out for a lot longer than we thought.
It'd make a hell of a lot more sense than he somehow had this experience on that sound stage with her.
So I guess we should take it to mean that did happen in reality, their one night stand, and then he was just remembering and dedicated a book to her after she had a heart attack.
Timeline wise, though, I think he might have been her dad or whatever. Or no, that would have been the boy's dad.
The boy's dad,
yeah. I'm sure we all have those the same question about like how the fuck did that book, like that dedication, come into play? Does that mean they actually had sex? So if she got pregnant at 18, then that means that would be his son, right?
Mm-hmm. So
everyone knows you can't
sort
get
of
pregnant
cheated
the first
on
time.
Charlie. That's true.
Maybe that's why she wants to take it back. Like she were, I kind of tit for tat. He was just doing what I did already, but he didn't know about it.
Yeah, there you go.
I was dipping somebody else's pen into my well.
That's how movie reality goes.
Yeah, there's your sitcom reference that no one's going to get. We were on a break.
They wrote Friends. They wrote that episode of Friends down the road.
Okay, anyway,
that's
moving on.
How movie reality goes, though. If you cheat, but he cheated, then it's okay. They cross each other out.
Yeah. You heard that stuff he was saying about Hemingway. I mean, who can resist that?
He wants to be like Kerouac, of course.
A motorcycle, goddammit. It's irresistible.
I was already wet before I got on the motorcycle. Then Fitzsimmons Persimmons came out.
Just fits him and she fits him in.
God damn it. It wasn't an easy task, let me tell you, but I made it happen.
For the first time, it was like a baby's arm holding an apple.
Anyway, that's Peggy Sue Got Fingered. Married.
That's the lesser-known sequel.
Peggy Sue says that she had a strange experience where she went back to high school and spent a lot of time with Charlie, and that he wouldn't give up because he loved her so much, just like in Valley Girl. A major lesson from the 80s seems to be no matter how many times a girl rejects you and tells you she wants nothing to do with you, you keep at it, and eventually she'll fall madly in love with you. You can even cheat on her.
Exactly. And Charlie, if she doesn't end up with you, just come to school with an AR-15.
Oh my God. God damn it. No. Oh, Jesus. Fuck.
It always comes back to your birthday, doesn't it?
Yep. Columbine. That's
that's the reference.
That's the reference we're making.
Happy birthday, Patrick.
Sorry.
Charlie says, "Oh Christ, I would cut off my arm for another chance," but Peggy says she needs some time. He looks devastated and he gets up to leave, but as he walks out, Peggy Sue invites him over to his house for dinner with his kids.
Your dog lives with your kids.
I was not expecting that reference.
Weatherman.
Dad, why do all your buddies from high school call me Camel Toe?
He starts crying and he hugs her. The camera pulls back, revealing Charlie's panty line through his see-through pants, and but they reshot to include this. And we're treated with another unsettling mirror trick photography shot and of reflections that don't quite match the movements of the characters. We fade to black and are left with the lesson that it's okay to cheat if you are really, really sorry about it later on. The end. But it may or may not have happened.
His fucking panty line.
What? That was pants. So
you
weird.
could see it so clearly. Like, what the fuck? Why is he wearing those pants? What a choice.
think he caught it in the dailies and was like, fuck, we can't reshoot it. Because I just had to call everybody in 6 months after we wrapped to film this one scene. I can't bring him back again.
I mean, sure, it works because now you understand what she saw in him. A tight ass, a nice firm ass through those pants.
She likes pantyhose. He's wearing the pantyhose she invented.